anything that's female-centric tends to get a bit of a knockback because it's seen as frivolous, it's not worthy, it's not that important. Well, actually, the beauty industry is like the third biggest industry in the UK. It surpasses British steel, car industry, and yet somehow the government will pay millions of pounds to these industries because they're male-driven.
Welcome to the Pro Beauty Pod. I'm Eve, editor of Professional Beauty, and together with my team we'll be bringing you insight and opinion on the hottest issues and the latest developments in beauty, spa, nails and aesthetics, as well as chatting with industry leaders and innovators about the secrets of their success. Thanks for listening, we hope you enjoy it. As I mentioned, this episode was recorded live and there is some strong language, so please be aware of that, especially if you have any younger beauty fans listening with you.
I want to introduce, if nobody knows who he is yet, the incredible Dominic Skinner to, join me for the Pro Beauty Pod today.
Hello. Oh, that's so kind. Shush. A bit more. Yeah.
My name is James Mac. I'm a professional makeup artist. I'm from Ireland, living in the UK for the past 7 years. And
Glow Up alumni.
Might have done something called Glow Up, fell across the boards, and have been working at the Professional Artist Creative Directory, trained in Ireland in 2017 in Vanity X Makeup Academy, and competed in the Irish equivalents of the Pro Beauty shows, the Irish Beauty competitions in 2017. And I won the creative student category, and I remember being in a room like this, and it was such a wild experience. And there are so many full circle moments, but I just want to give that short introduction. And Dominic, if you don't know or not aware, is the UK Director of Makeup Artistry for MAC Cosmetics. And we are here today to talk about the tenacity in the industry. Baby, what it takes to have the stick-with-itness. And I suppose, this is really full circle. I'll say it once and I'll say it 100 more times, because there's a bit of grit and tenacity to be here, to be with you, and how many years I've been following your amazing work. And then likewise, we're going to get into a deep dive into how hard and the tenacity for, creating your own brand and your own space in the industry. We're the same age. We're going to put it that. We're the same mean age where we have the same industry experience, but I still look up to Dominic so much. So I suppose, could you give us a little insight to, it's such a broad question, where it started for you, or where did your love for makeup artistry begin?
My love of makeup, I am a kid of the 80s, so for me it was Dallas, Dynasty, those sort of big, sort of expensive, wealthy shows, the women that they really applied makeup. And my mum, she loves makeup. She wears a lot of makeup. So I kind of always saw, makeup was always in my space. But it wasn't really until I went to art college and started experimenting with makeup in photographic projects, and that's where I started seeing makeup as something more than just glamorizing. So that's kind of where it stayed. But it wasn't until I went to, like I said, I got a place on at the London College of Fashion doing menswear, random, and I decided no, I don't want to do that. I want to buy clothes. I don't necessarily want to make clothes. And so my mum did the usual sort of Italian thing of throwing me out and saying, don't come back until you got a job. I got a part-time job, and it was at Body Shop, and they made you study makeup or do makeup. So I did the makeup, and I found it quite an easy transition from being an artist to doing makeup. It's the same thing, same concept, brushes, paint. So then I went back to university and studied makeup and never looked back. And that was, when was that? That was 2000, 2001?
I wonder if there should be part of this just conversation where, do I do a comparison to where I was in 2001.
Please don't. Why would you do that?
Oh my God.
Make me feel so old.
No, I secondary level, God knows, robbing lipstick without permission from my cousins. So we were kind of following the same line. And there's probably there's a colossal volume mascara still dry from 20 years ago in my back pocket. You once said, and it's just a really good point because, and this is probably where we have all of us collectively share such a similar backstory where you just don't wake up and you are saying it's definitely makeup artistry. You're a certified makeup artist. You have so many different influences, experiences, places that you've also lived, prior to this journey and being in the UK, traveling abroad as an artist. I did a little research and you made a really good point that the idea of makeup as an addition to the image, it's an addition rather than like something separate because, learning more about the beginnings and your influences, they influence like where we are today. And even now, where we're established in the industry, it's forever changing. Because that's a really good point about tenacity. How do you adapt and change all the time?
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, when I studied makeup, I'm this old, there was a thing called the internet, but boy did it take forever to load on your computer. I was given an email address. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what you did with it. So there's probably still emails somewhere in a server from a course leader asking me where my project is. I don't know. They're never going to come. But the world has changed in the last 25 years from when I went to university. The world has changed. We've become a lot more tech savvy. We've got AI. We've got all these things that are sort of with us. And I always find it interesting when I talk to my peers, makeup artists of the same sort of age range, where they're really dismissive of things like social media. They're dismissive of utilizing the tools that are with you at the time. And yet, at the same time, you can't get away from it. So I've always adapted technology. I've always adapted, the things that are of the moment. Because I just think it keeps you relevant. You've got to keep yourself relevant. Yeah. And it kind of comes back to the idea of tenacity. So the idea of tenacity is really that sort of gung-ho-edness, that sort of digging deep and making it work. I always remember thinking when I was at college, there was 80 students, and I remember very clearly looking in the classroom at the 40 students, 20 students that I had, because we kind of got split up into different classes, thinking, wow, so in this class, my year at university, there's 80 kids wanting to be a makeup artist. There are probably 30 makeup schools across the UK, all with the same number of people. So the competition is going to be tough. How am I, and that was when I first started, how am I going to get my head above the water? How am I going to get noticed? How am I going to make an impact when there's so many other people that want to be in my place? And it all came down to the understanding that, and this is the truth, it's not
we love the truth, nothing but the truth.
I will always tell the truth. The truth is, you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the best makeup artist. I know incredible makeup artists, no one knows who they are because they have the skill, but they don't have the will. And there are two very, very different things. Having the skill is one thing, but if you do not have the will to put your hand up higher, shout out louder, make that extra phone call, make that extra, send that extra email. If you're not willing to do that extra, it doesn't matter how good you are because no one is going to answer the phone. You don't know when someone's going to say yes to you. And if it's the moment you say, well, that's enough. I've sent my 3 emails today. Well, the 4th person you were going to send that email to is probably the person that wants to book you. Yeah. You just don't know. And that is tenacity. That is the sort of the gut-wrenching truth that you have to put the work in. It is not all about skill. It's about the ability to get on and actually build your own career, because no one is going to come to you saying, we would love you to photograph, to do the makeup for the front cover of Vogue magazine. Yeah. No one's going to knock on your door and say that. It's going to be down to you getting yourself in the room and working out how to get in there.
I think that's a really good point, because, part of that, like tenacity as well, it's how you package and formulate yourself. You're creating a brand, and whoever says that one brand, like, there's competition everywhere. And, I suppose it's similar to relate to that. Some people might not know how we know each other, and how do we know each other was through Glow Up. And, hearing you say that, it reminds me of the multitude of things I did before being a makeup artist, and what experiences and experiments, and oh my God, how many failures do we go through in life? Hundreds, but they are all so valuable for getting you to that next stepping stone, where when you're at that next stage, you will have critiques. You will always have, do you find that criticism is constant in a world where, knowing that you have to take it on board, but just what inspires you to stay tenacious? And when you've had, setbacks and people tell you no, to pursue, sticking with it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the day you think you know everything is the day you might as well give up.
Hear, hear.
I am always learning. I am learning off everybody who... I love watching people do makeup. Doesn't matter who it is, I will watch them, because there will be something that I'll be like, oh, I never knew that. I never saw that. I never thought about it like that. You've got to keep learning. If you stop learning because you think you are the best and you think you've done it all, then, well, what's the point in carrying on? It's pointless. So for me, it's always this want to do better, to learn, to grow, and to try something new. That's really what it comes down to. And critique, you're right. Critique is really important. And there will, the thing that we always say about Glow Up in particular is that on the show, first off, what you don't see on the show is that the feedback that myself and my colleague Val and the guest judge, at the, whoever it might be, the artist that comes up to get that feedback can last 20 minutes. You only get you only see
we were there for a very long time on day one. I will never forget. Oh my God, September 2019. It is still shaking in my boots.
It's a long day of filming, because we give this feedback. We're giving sort of 20-minute feedback. And you can see the producers saying, "Hurry up, hurry up," and it's like. But Val and I made this very, very clear point before we started filming, that we wanted to make sure that whatever we were doing, whoever was to win, that every single artist taking part got specific, clear feedback.
Yeah.
And sometimes the guest judges, I'll be honest, again, I always tell the truth, sometimes the guest judges don't always understand what that is. It is an understanding of saying what you like or what you don't like, saying why you like it and why you don't like it, and if you don't like it, what could the artist do to perfect it? So that way you are being told, well, this doesn't work. The reason why it doesn't work is because the color combination doesn't fit, and what you could have done is introduced another shade or a different tone that would have harmonized everything together. That is constructive feedback. So we always make sure that when we give the feedback, that is what we give. The problem is, Glow Up is the only place you're going to get that. Because in the real world, if someone doesn't like it, you will just never get a phone call. They won't call you back. If they do like it, they will call you back and they'll book you again, but you won't know why. So it is really important to, if you can get feedback, to get feedback, because that's the only way you're going to learn. And also, understand to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
you might put your
easier
heart
said and
soul-
done. And
Easier
it's
said than
so
done.
hard when you're doing it on live television, or
Yeah.
it's going to be archived on the internet forever, because you have to kind of be prepared mentally for that, like, blueprint and experience, whether it goes right for you. And maybe it's easier said and done, because I really enjoyed my time and it was fortunate, but I've always imagined what would happen if I got kicked out first, and it was like that failing failure, and it exists online forever. You have to prepare for that, like you're saying, taking on board without letting your emotions kind of be the dictator of the full meaning. You might feel some way because you're passionate, you're an artist, but don't let that be the main demeanor of, let it like destroy you. Like, use it as a constructive, like a piece of advice.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to. I mean, we are artists, and the art is subjective. Not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone loves Damien Hirst. Not everyone loves Andy Warhol. Has it stopped them from being successful? No, but that's art for you. What you can do is understand that if people don't like it, that is fine. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just not for them. So don't take it personally. You are putting your art out there for the world. It will get either positive or negative, comments. Those negative comments, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hold any weight.
I'd like to touch on something, and maybe this is like clearing the air. It's like there's a fun. Wasn't that a good time, Dom? I was struggling.
God, what are we going to say?
Well, no, because there's a question about what's the biggest lesson. I think for both of us to answer about working behind the scenes, or biggest lesson with participating in Glow Up. And okay, I mean, I'm going in like fresh, doughy-eyed, happy to be there. I'd like to think I'm learning to follow the brief, Dom. I'm learning years later. I struggled, particularly on my season, with the industry challenges, but the creative space the creative briefs were where I really came to life. And I had to rectify myself for half of the series to fight for my place. And that kind of taught me how to, really batten down the hatches and focus. And I'll always remember, and it's funny. I know you're like, well, how many times? We did Dancing with the Stars as an industry challenge, and the theme was basically glitter. Put on the glitter. Like, there's glitter in probably my ex-boyfriend's bed. I should know better about putting on glitter. And whatever came over me, I just wasn't thinking about it. And it was movie week in Dancing with the Stars, and I got Kung Fu Panda. And I remember I got the bass down. You know where I'm going with this, because it's iconic. And the only thing I didn't pick up was the glitter. It was literally the brief. And we had done Lion King on the 3rd episode in, and I would have, like, smashed it, because it was, like, super theatrical. I'll always remember you go, so, Kung Fu Panda, Panda and a Tiger, and he goes, James, it's giving me more kiss and a hamster. No. I remember, it was funny, but I remember thinking, like, shh, what am I going to do to just, like, no, in the moment I was 25, and I remember thinking, God, is this going to bruise my ego, or what can I do to just rectify the situation? So I put all of that, like, I put that comment, and Val kind of gave her pieces, and it was Lisa Armstrong was the director for Makeup Artistry at Dancing with the Stars, or Strictly Come Dancing, pardon me. And the next day, I remember I got out of the red chair. We had a creative brief where it was superheroes. And I did this tree that was like Cranog, and it was a metaphor to a tree of wisdom and resilience that used to be built into the Druid villages and the centre huts, all the different communities around Ireland, putting a story to it. And I remember it was that idea that just take the criticism, put it into your work. Yeah. If someone hates you, if someone doesn't like what you do, look at the climate of the world now, turn it into art. Like, put your feelings into your work than letting your feelings do the work on you. Yeah. And I just always remember that point, because do I say, like, thank you, Dom? Or, it was just...
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Well, it is. It's like, look, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or if life gives you lemons,
prosthetics.
Sell them and buy yourself a Mercedes. Like, there's two ways of thinking about this. And there is the idea of getting knockbacks. It's going to happen. Like, it is going to happen. It happens to me. I get booked on to do a fashion show. I do the fashion show. We do a great show. Gets great press. Everyone's really happy. but I don't connect or I don't gel with the designer or the stylist, and so I don't get booked for the next season. And it's like, well, why? Like, I did a great job. Well, actually, I did, but they didn't like me, and that's fine, because I tell you, I know I've got a personality not everyone's going to like.
Well, that's a great
it's
point.
Like, ADHD.
Hey, girl, like, cheers.
Fun times.
There's a shared feeling there. Well, you know, that's really important, because I think that makes me think, like, what qualities do you think make a standout makeup artist beyond technical skill? You kind of just touched on it there with personality. Do you think, like, we're all about mindset here? You can learn so much technically, but how do you encourage someone that might not, like, let's say, be as motivated, or they want to, like, be more, you know, get out of their comfort zone? What would be advice to people from, you know, a confidence point of view? Yeah,
I mean, look, confidence is key to anything in life. It doesn't always come naturally to people, and it's kind of understanding. Look, as an old person,
I feel like I've set that up now for you. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. As an old person, I will tell you for a fact, no one knows what they're doing. The truth of the matter is, no one knows what they're doing in life. We may look older, we may have more experience about what we are doing, but we still don't know what we're doing. So don't look at the fact that you are younger or you are less experienced as a reason to sort of think, well, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that. You know, there is this, everyone has imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is the feeling you get when you're doing a job and you're looking around, looking at all the other people on the job with you, thinking, I don't belong here. These people know what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. I can't do that. That's called imposter syndrome. You have this feeling that you are not worthy, you're not valued, and you are not capable as much as the other people. Like, if you were to rank yourself against others, you would put yourself at the bottom. I have imposter syndrome all the time. And I learned probably about 10 years ago that I realized everyone's got imposter syndrome. The way you deal with it is not to worry about it until someone taps you on the shoulder and tells you you are not good enough. Don't worry about it. But I tell you, no one is going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you you're not good enough, because they're worried that you are going to tap them on the shoulder and tell them that they're not good enough. Everybody has imposter syndrome.
It's a repeated cycle.
It is. Everyone has that fear. So as soon as you realize that everyone's got that fear, that actually there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. You just got to keep doing it and enjoy it. And weirdly, it was that moment of that realization that changed everything for me. It changed my career. It changed my career perspective and my trajectory. It took me to places that I never thought I'd go, because I suddenly had confidence, because I realized that no one was worrying about what I was doing. They were worrying what they were doing.
Can you describe that moment? Like, what point in your career, or has this been with the rise of Glow Up, before Glow Up? I know you had kind of developed your social media when Instagram was like popping off and creating like an identity for yourself. What time frame in your career did you feel that kind of like almost just the fear, not giving a damn as much as you can about others dissolved? When did you start to feel confident in your career?
I felt confident in my... look, you are always going to have haters. You are always going to get people that are going to tell you that they don't like what you do, But you can't be anything else. You can't look at what someone else is doing and try and emulate them. It will never work. As a makeup artist, you have to be a people person. You have to know how to adapt to different people that you're working with, different people in the team. Sometimes you got to be a bit sort of kooky and quirky. Sometimes you got to be really serious.
She's so kooky crazy.
She's kooky crazy. But you have to kind of style yourself around what other people are doing. But underneath it all, you have to just do you. So it was this. The weird thing is that it wasn't makeup related. I was walking down. I just bought myself a really fun jumper. And I decided I was going to wear it one day, and I put it on, and in looking back now, compared to what I now wear, it was not that mental. But
it was relevant at the time. That's all of our fashion savings. It was relevant at the time, yes.
But I was wearing it, and I was feeling really self-conscious. And there was this person walking towards me, and I saw her looking at me, and I thought, oh, she's commenting. She's making those mental comments about what I'm wearing. I should just go home and change. And then I saw in her eyes, and this weird thing happened. I saw in her eyes that I saw fear. I saw fear in her eyes because I realized what she was doing was she was looking at me, worried what I was thinking of her. And that's when it clicked. That's when I realized, oh, no one is worrying about what I'm doing. They're worried what I'm thinking of them. That was the game changer.
I'll chime in on that because what it is, I suppose, for me, and it's the most prominent physical thing you can observe, I have Tourette's syndrome. You know, that was such a huge hurdle for me to overcome, to think, you know, the probably only concern people might have is that I'm not going to gouge their eye out if I'm doing their glam, or rather that they're, you know, concerned about my welfare in that regards, rather than they're worried about, oh God, it's like steam coming from a kettle here, and you say, you look at people thinking they're looking at you, because I feel that so prominently with, you know, being just physically, it's hard for me to hide from the objectivity. It's there on a regular basis, and the mental overcoming that I had to experience, and the self-love and the self-discovery, and I was living this kind of in the moment in my experience and glow up. You know, I didn't really care in the best of sex about, I want to win. I wanted, you know, I actually couldn't afford my rent, so we had a really nice apartment. I just wanted to stay in that flat for the 8 weeks filming, because I was like, right, if I get to the end, that means I've got a nice bed. But I remember during that journey, when I was in, like, oh my God, the metaphor, the red chair, it's everywhere. I was in it a lot that I thought, okay, I really want to stay here. This is a wake-up call. I have nothing to lose. And we have nothing to lose with how people might perceive us. And like you said, they probably fear that they lose their, you know, what are they like if they're judging you? They're thinking about their own concerns. And it's still difficult for me. I speak about it on social media a lot. Tourette's Tuesdays is a series I've developed. And it's only come from finding more self-love. And I think as a makeup artist, what would you say, like, would that be one of your main core values? That you have to have an element of self-love and the idea of what love means to you, because you have to have, like you said, we need to be adapting to people. We have to have passion and energy into all of our work. So my journey is I've only stuck with this industry because I've had to learn so much and forgive so much about myself with who it is I am. Like, I call myself Betty Toretti because she's always looking over there. And, you know, and that in itself is a look. I'm like, it's fun. Laugh.
I love that. I love it.
You have to laugh and embrace it. So, and you know, no matter what stage we are in our careers, because I've looked up for you for years, and it was such a moment to, you know, put myself forward for Glow Up. And even these 5 years since, and just see it unfolding, like we're in the moment. Betty Toretti wouldn't have believed that 7 years ago, but you have to just, you know, have that kind of self-acceptancy and give yourself that kind of, I suppose, note to self today. That could be the thing that you want to hear from this conversation.
Yeah, I think, you know, you've got to be kind to yourself. You know, you got to be realistic, and you've got to be kind to yourself. You know, yesterday I did a demonstration on the stage over there with my colleague Carly, and the lip wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. But, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow I'll do another lip. Actually, tomorrow I've got to do another lip for a video, and I'll do it again. I think you've got to be kind to yourself. You've got to be realistic, like I said, but understand that no one is expecting you to be absolutely perfect 100% right this minute. You know, there are times when, you know, shit happens. It's not working, and you've got to put your brushes down, go for a walk, come back, and redo it. It's just understanding how you work as an artist. What's a best environment for you? I work really weirdly, ADHD. I work really well under pressure. So for me, Fashion Week Like, bring it on. Yes, I can have 20 makeup artists screaming at me, asking me what they should be doing.
The model arrives 6 minutes before the show.
Yes. Models are, they're like herding cats. You're trying to get hold of one to just check the makeup, and it's all going off. In that moment, I feel like I'm 10 foot tall because I'm like, yeah, I'm bossing this. This is great. Whereas, sometimes get me in a room, just myself and the model, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is not working. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take it off. We're going to go and have a cup of tea. So it's just understanding really how you work and being kind to yourself. Don't keep putting the pressure on yourself.
Exactly.
The pressure will always be there, but you don't have to overwhelm yourself with that.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, there's one or two questions, because if anyone has questions, please ask them now, because there's no stupid question. We're in the sorority of probably haven't asked all those questions as well. But I guess you've just touched on, I want to ask, you probably, what from a notary perspective has been like a career highlight to date, but maybe as a tangible, physical, product, a show, a design. But can I also ask, like, just how you felt? So what have been 2 career highlights? Basically what we might see as onlookers and they think this is legendary, but you might have been feeling the most sad, depressed in that moment. So maybe just for us to be nosy about your work, but then, a moment where it might have been something so simple, but you felt just, this is my calling.
Yeah. I don't know how personal I should get. I can get personal. I mean, I tell people everything. I am no one. The Daily Mail cannot say anything about me that I haven't already said about myself. I think weirdly, Glow Up has been an absolute first season. I genuinely, like, I got sort of. I had to do what do they call? Not interviews.
Psychoanalysis?
No,
it's
not
okay.
that bad.
I did.
No, yeah, you guys
and
did.
the results are still
they just hope that we're okay. I had to do a casting for it, and every step of the way I was like, yeah, but they're not going to pick me. It's fine. And then I got picked, and then it's like, yeah, but they'll change their mind, and then they didn't. And then we filmed it, and it's like, oh, they'll replace me at some point, and they never did. And then I thought, they'll just edit me out, and they never did. Like, it was always this, and I kept going. At some point, this is not going to go on air, like, surely, but it did, and it was always this. I was always really quite shocked. I was so convinced that was not going to be the case that I didn't tell my mum. Well, I didn't tell anyone about it until 3 days before the press release came out. So we had filmed it 6 months earlier. And I hadn't told my mum. And because she kept phoning me during the filming and saying, what are you up to? I'm like, oh, just busy.
Gardening.
And she was just like, I'm sorry, you've done what? I'm like, I know. You just got to keep it quiet for like 3 days. Could she keep it quiet for 3 days? Nope. But yeah, I think Glow Up has been such an incredible surprise. It was never the path. And so much has happened over the 7 years that we've done the show. But I think the one thing, because I love doing the show, but I think the one thing that I think always surprises people, season 5, I was going through a divorce, and I can see it going. But to everyone else, everyone's like, oh my God, that was such a great show. I'm like, yeah, inside I was...
One curl of the tash was going left,
like,
the other's going right.
And it was a hard time, but but I think for me, the lesson I learned was, your whole world can be crumbling around you, but people are still reliant on you to show up. And
that's 99% of it, just showing up.
I had to show up. I showed up. The only person that knew about it was Val. And she got me through that.
Mama Val, we
Mama
love
Val. Queen Val.
Val.
I think that was probably the thing. And the other thing, I think, like career highlights. I've had so many career highlights. I think my favorite career highlights have always been not necessarily doing things on my own, but doing things as a group. I love working with people. I love working in teams. I love You know, like when we get to work backstage at Fashion Week, it's great.
We just said this at the London Fashion Week that we were backstage in the lineup, and you looked at me. We were concealing hands and fixing bruised knees
and we were like,
models.
what the fuck are we doing?
Literally,
what the hell are we doing?
The swear words through the roof. But you said, I think this is like the first real time. We've been on sets. We've done like, you know, various seasons of Glow Up as judges. I've been attending the other masterclass finales. But it was such a moment where
it was really
we're
lovely.
working together. And 7 years ago, I walked past you. You were getting hang sandwiches in an M&S in Ireland doing a Viva Glam campaign. And I was like, oh my God, there's a guy, Dominic Skinner from Glow Up Season 1. Jesus Christ, that's I really should do Glow Up. Oh God, I'm so nervous. I need to pee. And I was like, oh, hey. And, you know, time unveils itself, and it was a beautiful moment. I think, you know, it was, and like I think also just seeing what all the Glow Up artists do over the years is always really, you know, we always look at Glow Up as a bit of a university, a bit of a college course, and seeing what the students are doing. Oh, we got a question. Great, we got a question, because I think I've got one more scheduled question. Well, I just want to ask because I want people to get involved. Because I want to know this for my own peace of mind. We have done 7 seasons of Globe. Season 7 is coming out shortly. And I get asked all the time, the rumour mill, about a Glow Up All-Stars. Ooh, I am setting the place on fire. But I've nearly been set on fire with so many questions. Is this something, am I imagining? Would I be interested? But what do we think? Well, it's really funny you said that, because I can officially say that no one has spoken about it. So unfortunately, no. No, it's you know what? It's funny. Like, we hear about it all the time. We do talk about it. We do say it would be really fun. It would be hard with the way that, like, I bring it up because, you know, pivoting on, we all go into different avenues, like. But I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really interesting to sort of see how it goes. But you know what? I always like the idea of actually just having some sort of like moment to look back at all the artists and see where they are and see what they're doing and see how they've sort of evolved themselves. I've made best friends from it. Like, I love to support the other seasons because I was a loner. I was like, I want friends. I want to, like, you know, they are your companions because it's a 24/7. It's a lifestyle because it's your passion. It's a career. They need to be your allies and your core. Like you said, certain people get you through other parts of your life, but this becomes your life because you fuel the fire. We're just right. Let's do some questions. Yes. We'll get to you. Don't worry.
Okay, so my question is how does it feel knowing so many people idolize both of you and see you as like major inspirations, and you're talking about all this like imposter syndromes and stuff like that, and you're still people actually like I idolize both of you like very much. So like, how does that feel like from your perspective? I mean, for me, you know, I think it's lovely. It's I think what's been so wonderful about you know, doing the show, but also just doing, you know, doing us, like, you know, it's like, I think Makeup Artistry has had, you know, look, not to get on a soapbox and talk about the patriarchy, but Makeup Artistry has always had a bit of a, or makeup in general, anything that's female-centric tends to get a bit of a knockback because it's seen as frivolous, it's not worthy, it's not, you know, it's not that important. Well, actually, the beauty industry is like the 3rd biggest industry in the UK. It surpasses British steel, car industry, and yet somehow the government will pay thousands and millions of pounds to these industries because they're male-driven, and yet the beauty industry that is female-focused and it's always female entrepreneurs get absolutely nothing in comparison. And I feel that if I can help raise awareness of how important emotionally, physically, and financially the beauty industry is to the wider population, then that's what I'm going to do. You know, and the response, I think, you know, I get a lot of, I have a lot of conversation with dads talking about how they feel really
they've changed their opinion about their son or their daughter playing with an eyeshadow palette upstairs in the bedroom because they realize that actually there is a job and there is a career and they can make some money and potentially help me retire early. So I think that to me is one of the most important things. I think it's great that people idolize. No, that sounds really weird. I think it's really lovely that people see us like that. I think it's really lovely, but I think it's more important just for the fact that it's if I see it as more kindred spirits. I think that's what it is. It's not about any ideology or idolizing anyone. It's just you're connecting to someone who thinks the same as you. And I think sometimes artists, we're very much black sheep of the family. And, we're very much independent swimmers. And so sometimes having a teammate, and if people see myself and James as a teammate, just in the back telling you to keep going, that's kind of what I think it is. Yeah.
Well, we literally are dressed in black, so I idolize the black sheep. Thank you so much. I think being a cheerleader of so many other people, like I'm always obsessed and a fangirl of other creatives, and like two like-minded twin flames, two like-minded spirits, and that to me is what always keeps me motivated to invite people to the table. And such a great note on fathers or dads. I'm an only child where I grew up in rural Ireland, and my dad, I think, has learned so much through the experience. I didn't tell my parents about Glow Up initially as well, and my dad's like, what the hell is this blow up that you're on about? And it was so funny. He literally would stand 1 inch away from the screen, and secretly he watched it back on repeat, and it was not about the adoration, for his child, or it did so much for us as a family, and I could see it did so much for him to think about what inspiration, what message, what is this teaching him on a much larger scope. So we're all part of it, and that's what just keeps me inspired and wants to just amplify that, because it's for everyone's inclusivity. Great question, thank you.
My question's probably the other way around, because I'm older, and I left a full-time job. I was a theatrical team leader. I almost don't want to put on my CV that I used to teach in a way, because I don't know if that holds me back, or that I am a bit older, or that do I express that I'm a bit older. I just kind of think it's like the students that you're trying to help come through, and we want them to have opportunities. But for a maturer person going back into industry, I almost don't know how to present myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think the one thing that I think the beauty industry is the most amazing at is not shying people away. Over the years, it's really evolved, and it's become the most inclusive, supportive space for everybody. And I think, to me, what comes with age is experience. That's what I think is really beneficial. I think it's kind of what James said, finding those things, like James's Tourette's, he turns it into a superpower. I know for a fact that I would not be sat on this. I mean, I'm dyslexic and I wrote a book. I mean, who, what the, huh, what? So thank you very much. Available at most good bookshops, but you might have to order it because they don't seem to have it in store. But no, it's I'm dyslexic, and I genuinely, I struggled reading as a kid. So why the hell would I even consider writing a book? Well, I wrote a book because I just wanted to try and help people become creative, creative thinking, and that's something that I know I had. But it's the idea that I know that I would not be sat on this stage now with James if it wasn't for my ADHD, late diagnosed ADHD, high functioning autism. I mean, baby, I got them all. And the amount of chocolate I eat, I probably have the diabetes as well. But it's that's it. It's but it's enabled me to get to where I am, and what you bring, what your experiences are, will help bring you to where you want to go as well.
I think that's a great example, and like, you know, just logically teaching, it's such an asset. I'm getting into teaching and demonstrating, and I'm asking myself, how much time have I done in the industry? Should I be doing this? But I'm learning it's such a like affluential, strong tool. So to answer that question, to put it down, girl, put it down, because you have a well of knowledge that can be shared, and, you know, why not, you know, celebrate that? Again, it's funny, it's like you're worried about that concern when everyone's only dying to have that resource. We'll take, I say, 2 more questions because we're wrapping up for time. Yep, go ahead.
Hello, I'm a fellow ADHDer as well, and got a little bit of autism and dyslexic. But I got really inspired in 2019 with the special effects side of makeup. I was going through a really tough time in high school, and that was my escape, special effect makeup. So I took that into an industry and moved down to London, and now I'm at college. But I was wondering, could you do like both in your career, like special effects and like normal day-to-day makeup into a career like Paris Fashion Week? Because I love that side. I love both sides, like theatre, I love all of it.
Yeah, well, I'll answer quickly in the sense that it's just a heartbeat ago when I was in college, starting out, and it's such a muddled journey with what, you know, will get you a job. Like, how much work do I have to do for free? What, like, commitment am I doing to develop myself? Again, tenacity, stick with it. The answer is yes, you can. I'm starting to learn that I'm a creative artist, like Dominic, like different fashion shows, you might be asked to do like a prosthetic mark, a bleach brow, like something beyond the beauty regime, like the normal conventional makeup. It's possible because there's so many talents. You can call yourself a creative artist and sell yourself like that and let that be your label without, you know, stretching yourself too far. And trust me, this is a love letter to myself. In the last post-glow up, I would say, because our season came out in COVID, where I took to the online content creating because there was nothing else for me to do in a farm in Ireland. Like, the sheep were beginning to talk to me. I was going wild. And I came back at the end of 2021, having not seen Dom for 2 years, thinking, okay, I always wanted to be a working makeup artist, but have an online following. And I thought I struggled with the balance. You can do both, but just the stick-withness, whatever you're doing now, whatever opportunities and interns experience, reach out to everybody. Like, don't have shame. Oh my God, having no shame, it's such a fundamental tool because the right people, you don't, girl, and I live for it. Yeah, high five in the air. Stick with it because I'm still in that space. And I could be 20 years in the industry and I'll still feel like that. It doesn't end. So great question, and stick to what you're doing.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's about the more you know as a makeup artist, the more that you can throw in your tool belt, prosthetics, beauty, brow bleaching, hair, whatever it is, the more likely you're going to get work. It's just, you know, I always say to young people, if you it was back in the day when the cut crease was the thing, and I would go to universities, I'd go to colleges to do some visits, and I would see everyone doing this cut crease, and they would spend hours doing this cut crease, and it's like, yeah, that's great, but unless the 3 people that want that look are willing to pay your mortgage, put food on your table, give you some money for a night out with your mates, some money towards a holiday, you know, all that sort of stuff, and if they're willing to spend that money for you, great. But otherwise, there's other people that want other things. So if you can do other things like prosthetics, you know, I got asked on a fashion show to do some brow bleaching. I was like, I haven't got time to do brow bleaching, but I know someone that does do brow bleaching. So James got a call and got the job.
Thanks to Lady Gaga at the Chromatica ball, I bleached my brows to filth.
So, but if he hadn't have known how to brow bleach, I wouldn't have given him a call. So it's about sort of knowing the more that you know, the more that you can do. But there will come a point where you will filter through all of the stuff that you do and you will just specialize in one area. That's going to happen. But until then, if you can open it up, it's going to, you don't know, the more you know, the more paths you can walk down. The more paths you walk down, the more opportunities you're going to get.
Learning is fun. Like, I'm interested in the experimenting, and again, failure is such a feat of strength. It's like courage, conviction. You're being brave if you fail.
I've learned more from failing than I have from winning.
Yeah.
You know, if you fail, you understand, you learn, you can look at it and go, well, why did it fail? Why did it not go right? What did I do wrong that I need to do differently? If you win, you never know why you won. So if I can say one thing, fail as much as possible.
Agreed. And failing, and I suppose if you see in your failures like what you were willing to learn from the mistakes. But you know, I just want to make note. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Dominic. And I'm so excited we're doing this. I'm thinking of 18-year-old me, or I'm thinking of episode 1 Glow Up Me for all of their love and respect, and you know, sticking with it. But one final question to come away, because I suppose when I think of tenacity, I think of you've got to somewhat break the rules a little bit to fit the way where you want to fit in your wild. I can see on the back of the book, Dominic's Glowography book literally says, break the rules, establish your look, hone your skills like a professional MUA. What's one beauty rule you would love to break, and why should we all break it too? That's my closing question.
The one, it's not really a rule, it's just sort of like, it's a behavior, I think.
Yeah.
Stop listening to other people's opinions. I always say, why don't you wear the blue lipstick? Because you're worried what other people are going to think. Well, we've already established earlier on, other people's opinions don't mean anything. Unless, like RuPaul says, unless they're paying your bills, don't pay them any mind. Like, don't worry about them. So, you know, for me, it's all about doing what you want to do, because you've got one chance at this. Yeah. So wear the blue lipstick, enjoy your life, and stop worrying what other people are thinking.
Dominic, thank you so much. This is
James, thank you